season of the TA2 Muscle Car series has undoubtedly been its biggest and best. With big fields, new faces and spectacular racing, there's never been more contenders fighting for bragging rights. The year started at Sydney Motorsport Park. 16-year-old Nathan Hearn served notice that he'd be a strong force against George Miedeke, reigning champ Ashley Jarvis and third-generation racer Aaron Seton. Despite a spin, Seton won the round by just 4 points from Miedeke, sending a clear message that this would be an intense year at the front of the TA2 field. Round 2 at Morgan Park, Queensland saw Hearn win his first TA2 race, whilst rookie Craig Scatella and Sean Richardson tested the track's limits. With 3 wins from 4, Seton again dominated the round after Miedeke suffered a slowly deflating tyre. However, it was the school kid from Lismore that had impressed the most.
I made sure I just went into the start as hard as I could and actually managed to pull it off.
The TA2 Muscle Car Series debuted at Tailem Bend, South Australia for the first time in round 3, with George Miedeke taking his first PWR pole in the Lubrimax Mustang. Hearn again was the form steerer, taking the first 3 wins. But diff failure in race 4 for the Gulf Western Oils Dodge gifted Miedeke his first TA2 round win by just 0.2 of a second from Seton.
Yeah, exactly. I want that ring, man. I really, I think that ring is so cool.
Winton in Victoria saw the first TA2 top 10 shootout, with Miedeke taking pole from Seton and veteran touring car star Andrew Miedeke in the Dodge. The championship intensity wound up considerably between Hearn and Miedeke, with the 16-year-old's drive from the back of the grid after clutch failure a standout, only to have it all come undone at turn 4. Miedeke won the round by just 1 point from Seton, with only 16 points between them in the Performax Cup standings.
He was going a bit aggressive with me and unfortunately didn't know his limits.
We race hard, when he's in front of me, he blocks me, and when I'm in front of him, I do the same.
Back to Sydney, and a 30-car grid for the penultimate round gave Seton his 4th pole award of the year. Pole position, 4 wins, fastest laps, and a new lap record set him up nicely going into the final round. Hearn was a strong second, while Miedeke was handicapped by gearbox issues in the final race. With 1 round left in 2019, there's no doubt we're in for a thrilling finale as we get set to crown our new Performax Cup champion.
Welcome to Queensland Raceway for the finale of the TA2 Muscle Car Series, with a record 32-car field will line up for bragging rights, and a host of championship contenders are ready to challenge for the 2019 Performax Cup. We've got racing legends, rising stars and new faces all ready to tackle this 3.12 kilometre racetrack. But before we get into racing, let's go on board for a hot lap with Nathan Hearn.
Hi everyone, my name's Nathan Hearn. You're on board the Gulf Western Oils Dodge Challenger. I'm taking you for a lap around Queensland Raceway. So coming onto the main straight here, reaching speed about 220 km an hour, up to the gears, up to 3rd gear, back up to 4th gear. Coming into the braking zone for turn 1, brake at the concrete strip, back down to 3rd gear, reaching about 150 mid-corner here, and then back into turn 2. This is a really long corner, I have to make sure you can find the exit of the corner. There's a lot of muscle memory going around this corner, so about 150 as well through the apex of turn 2. Back up to 4th gear, down to back straight. Reaching speed is about 240, 250, and braking about the 175 metre mark for turn 3. So down through the gears, back down to 2nd gear, and make sure you get the car nice and tight. Make sure she doesn't wheel spin too much, and can get the power down nice and easy and exit for the overtaking opportunity down here to turn 4. So braking just about time under the flag marshal post on the right. Hard down the gears, 3rd, 2nd, get nice apex, make sure you get a good run to set you up for turn 5. Important to get a good run through turn 5 down to turn 6, as this is another massive pass opportunity. Back up to 200 km an hour and then back into turn 6, so back down through the gears, down to 2nd gear. On the exit, it's important to get a good exit here, this can make and break your lap. These cars are awesome fun to drive around here in Queensland Raceway, so fingers crossed we can have a good meeting and keep the Gulf Western Oils up the pointy end.
While the focus will be on our championship contenders this weekend, there's some fresh faces who are sure to mix up the results. New to the field is Paul Stokel, 3-time Australian Drivers' Champion, Nations Cup, Mini Challenge and Target Tasmania winner in a brand new Mustang for Wadley Motorsport.
It's a real car. Like it doesn't have ABS, it doesn't have traction control, it's got lots of horsepower, it doesn't have any grip. So it's actually a driver's car. You know, you have to actually get in and drive the car, which is like it was old school back when I was a young bloke, I guess.
Also debuting a stunning new Mustang is Queenslander John McLaughlin, the former Toyota 86 driver who surprised many with his early pace.
We'd been planning to get in the TA2s for a little while. And the opportunity came up, so we got the car and got out here to the last round. There's lots of close racing and some good names in the field, and the cars are unbelievable. They're fast, they look awesome, and they're just a lot of fun to drive.
In qualifying, McLaughlin was 5th fastest ahead of George Miedike's Mustang, while Seton was 8/10ths clear of Nathan Hearn, Ashley Jarvis and Masterclass leader Russell Wright to take 5 of the 6 PWR Pole Awards for the season.
Yeah, it's been a great start to the weekend. I couldn't have done it without my team. They gave me a great car, and it's good to be out here at Queensland Raceway with the TA2s. I'm looking forward to 2 races today and then another 2 tomorrow.
While Sydney's Michael Coulter won the Bowden's Own Best Presented in the Cabelco Mustang. With only 40 points between first and second, 220 points up for the final round, and 8 drivers still in the game, the final round of the TA2 Muscle Car Series and the battle for the Performax Cup, plus the TA2 Championship ring, is set for a spectacular finale.
It's pretty awesome to have a category like this in Australia, and to win the title would be pretty big for me. Let's not talk too soon before the end of the weekend because anything can happen, but fingers crossed and just keep it clean throughout the races and try and aim for the podium and see how we go.
If you had asked me on Wednesday, I wouldn't have thought we were a chance at all, but we're actually going pretty quick this weekend. Look, George and Aaron are quite a way up the road points-wise. We'll just do what we've done all year, try and finish races. If we're somewhere towards the front, that's a bonus, and hopefully we get a good haul of points.
We won a couple of rounds, which I was really happy to do. That was the aim for me coming into this year. Got a couple of poles, which I was happy with as well, but to be honest, just been slightly beaten. I've had a little bit more bad luck. You know, we had a flat tyre and the car getting stuck in 4th gear in Sydney at the last race when we were in position for 2nd for the weekend. But it just haven't quite been there. So it's been good to have a couple of highlights, but just from a competitive standpoint, I'm just a competitive person, and it frustrates me to be almost there.
Not to mention being part of the only father-son combination in the field, and a competitive one at that.
Well, that may be, but let's hope that he has a good run. He's very, very quick, and I used to be quick, so I'll be out there trying my best, and so will he, and we'll just see how it all works out. It doesn't pay in this business to sort of try and work out the end game when you've only just started.
While for the over 50-year-old competitors, Russell Wright has been the standout of the season.
Providing that I finish the weekend okay, I should take out the Masters, and really I'm happy with that because, with 30 odd cars in the field nowadays, lots of young fellows, lots of really top gun drivers in there now, it's a very competitive field.
And not to forget Nathan Hearn, an outside contender, but still with enough pace to steal valuable points.
We'll definitely be in with a championship fight this weekend, but even though we're in mathematical contention, it's very rare if we're going to win it. So if I can get a championship under my belt next year, I'll be absolutely stoked, and hopefully go to America and teach the youngsters how it's done.
The opening race of the weekend saw the championship leader get the perfect start, winning from pole, while reigning champ Ashley Jarvis's 2019 hopes were fading fast with problems in the Camaro.
Yeah, look, unfortunately we were trucking along all right. We actually had a fair bit of pace, and the car was nice to drive, and it got jammed in gear. So that was the end of our race. So we come in, and Dad fiddled around with the linkages and at least got us back out there, but we were 2 laps down by then. So that's all right. 2.5 years of racing in TA2, that's our first mechanical issue, and even then it's not a big issue. So we'll get it fixed and we'll get back out there this half.
Former NASCAR champ George Elliott and Queenslander Anthony Tenkate came together coming into turn 4.
I'm still sort of up here, waiting to calm down. But look, I think he was right up my tail when I was trying to avoid Darren Berry, because Darren had shot off to the left coming out of turn 3, and Darren had hit the dirt, and he'd come back on, shot across. But as I got around, Darren kept coming over. I kept going over, and I think George was too close up my tail.
I just couldn't pull up in time, that's all. It was just one of those things. Like, to me, I felt that it was a racing incident, but I've been deemed to be in the wrong because I hit him in the rear quarter, which is fair enough. I mean, that's the rules.
For Saturday's race too, Seton started the 15-lap Twilight feature from pole and led the field in front of Hearn, Miedeke and Wright, while Jarvis started at the rear of the grid. At turn 1, the course of the championship changed dramatically after a rare mistake by Seton turned the Castrol-Harris Racing Ford around in front of the field. Seton lost the Mustang and was hit heavily by McLaughlin and then Andrew Miedeke's Dodge, which was damaged significantly. Wright was also a victim, breaking a wheel after hitting the rear of the Mustang. Despite no injuries, the cleanup significantly delayed the start of the race, while Seton looked as though his championship was done. Officials sent all cars back out for a shortened 5-lap event. However, on the warm-up lap, driver feedback was that it was considered too dark to race safely, so the race was rescheduled for Sunday morning. The Castrol-Harris team faced an almost impossible task of rebuilding the car overnight, while Andrew Miedeke was clearly out of the championship chase.
Yeah, look, I'm fine. These things happen. You know, I spoke to Aaron after when we got out of the car, and he said, look, we just gassed it up a bit hard and looped it, and unfortunately it created a bit of carnage behind.
With the race rescheduled on Sunday morning, Hearn had no hesitation to take charge, overtaking Seton for the lead and taking the win.
Went around the outside of him in turn 1 and just held on to it, and ever since then I was just trying to make my car as wide as possible and make sure I had good runs on him on the straight.
Stellar effort too from Aaron Seton to finish second.
Yeah, the car's feeling really good. I couldn't have done it without my team and all the TA2 category. Everyone got together and was able to get this car back out this morning. So, no, I just can't thank them enough. It was yesterday, it was a hard day. So it's good to be back out today. And yeah, just my team's incredible.
For winning the 2017 TA2 Series, Russell Wright scored a drive in the American TA2 Series at the Circuit of Americas in Texas. 2018 TA2 champ Ashley Jarvis heads off to Daytona this week as his prize for winning the series and is looking forward to the challenge of the iconic Daytona Raceway.
And we've all played Daytona computer games, and in the cinemas we've always jumped on the Daytona USA games before we go into the movies. So to me, Daytona was, it was number 1 on the list, and yeah, like the facilities, it's going to be nothing like we have here. So just want to learn as much as I can, take it all in. It'll probably be a bit of a bucket list thing for me. I won't have the chance to do it again.
Look, I think he'll do real well. He's got to watch the guys. They fight hard, they race hard, but he'll do well. Ashton's a cautious driver, and he's got an hour and 10 minutes to make some ground on him. So I just said start off easy, watch the start because they have mayhem at the start normally, and then just work on it through that hour. Hopefully he'll do well.
Conditions at Queensland Raceway were forecast to heat up on Sunday.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hot for these next 2 races, so hydration's going to be massive. But look, I'm pretty excited for it. It's going to be good. First ever time I've had 3 races in one day, so it'll be endurance tests. So yeah, hopefully we can live up to it, and hopefully the car stays in one piece.
Racing at Queensland Raceway any time in summer is really, really hot, so it torches the tyres pretty hard, particularly the rear left. So yeah, these cars are pretty hot, and then when you add those conditions and a fried up tyre, makes it for a pretty interesting weekend.
As the cars roll out for race 3, the Seton crew had worked till 3 a.m. on the Mustang to keep the team's championship chances alive.
I'll tell you what, we had so many helpers last night that really wanted us back on the track. And actually, just one little mistake he made yesterday, which he hasn't done all year. He's just been faultless. It just caught him out. He just rode the curb in turn 1 and then spun in the middle of the road. And when you got 30 cars coming at you, there's always a chance a few are going to hit you, which it is. As I said to him, that's motor racing, mate, and you just got to get out and prove that we can do it.
So, Paul, you're clearly not in your race suit and the cars are lining up for race 3. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, it went off song in the last race, and it turns out it pulled the studs out of a couple of the rockers. So yeah, the engine's pretty much not repairable over the weekend. So that's it for the weekend, unfortunately. So it was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. We were up to 4th and battling with the leaders there for a while. So I was starting to get a handle on the cars, and would have been good to finish the weekend off. But there we go.
Don't go anywhere. Our final 2 races of 2019 are coming up. So out they come. Man, it has been a busy night. I don't expect, Craig Denyer, that the crew on the Seton car have had much sleep.
No, they worked till about 3 a.m. this morning, I think, Wado, and I think a lot of fingers crossed at the moment to make sure the car's been repaired enough to hopefully deliver Seton his first championship win. So it could go either way. Big field too. 32 cars started this weekend here at Queensland Raceway. An amazing TA2 Muscle Car grid.
High-tech grid, yeah, looks amazing, doesn't it? Here they come, the rolling start. Seton, it's remarkable that he's even out there. Hearn to his left. As we go green here at QR, that magnificent sound as they storm down into turn 1 at Queensland Raceway. The final round of what has been an incredible TA2 series, and those top 3 really have been the form setters all season.
Look at Seton. He's sitting in there, but Hearn's got the jump. He's now leading Aaron Seton in car 88. Mediki's still in there in 3rd spot. So we've travelled across some 4 states, 6 race meetings and 22 different races to get to this point, Wado.
Jarvis, the defending champion, fires up the inside on his way to Daytona. What a series prize that was. Oh no, the Tooth Fairy.
Darren
Trouble
Berry
for the 20 car.
And I think that's McKeldin that's gone off with him too at turn 1. So here's a replay. Let's see what happens. Coming down turn 1, lap 1. It's McAllister down the inside. Berry, oh, they touch. And that's it. It's all over.
Oh, McKeldin will be filthy. So too will Berry. And there's the hands up in frustration. The real estate mogul can't believe his bad luck. We're back into it on lap 2. I tell you what, Rusty's rocking in the 55.
Well, Rusty started from the back of the grid because he was caught up in the Seton incident, and would you believe they got a heap of gravel up into the gear selectors, and he stopped on the track with gearbox failure in the last race. They've cleared the problem, so he's coming from the back of the grid and still within a championship top 5 chance.
Look at this. Up, he fires up the inside on the 18 car, the RTC group entry. Nice, clean pass. It's an amazing circuit, Queensland Raceway. It's quite unimaginative in its layout on paper, but it always turns out phenomenal racing.
It does. Peter Robertson in the big Dodge, car number 10. He's the series owner. He's the man that's had the vision for this championship and done a tremendous job. He's chasing down Timmy Tritton there. We've got Sydney driver Michael Coulter behind him in the Cabelco Mustang. But Peter's on a charge this weekend. He's running inside the top 10, which is really great to see.
It's nice to see him back on track because remember he's actually been lending parts to his car and stuff to keep people on the racetrack, hasn't he?
Well, he kept Seton in the championship. He actually led his differential to him at the Winton round so that Aaron can continue on. So still 8 drivers within a chance of taking out the championship. You've got Seton, Mediki, Ashley Jarvis, Andrew Mediki and Russell Wright in the top 5 with Hugh McAllister, Murray Kent and Nathan Hearn still an outside chance.
Look at this. There are no real slow parts of this racetrack. Some big heavy braking, but then some massive, big long straightaways. McKeldin trying to make up for lost ground. Fires the Kubota car up the inside and makes it stick on the 888.
Yeah, Warren Wadley's car, 888. 2-car team for Wadley Motorsport this weekend. Paul Stapel in the other car. Unfortunately, he's had engine failure. Isn't in this race, but great to see Warren investing so much in the TA2 Muscle Car series.
And if you're going to put someone in your car, why not put Paul Stokely in? There's not much he hasn't driven, and I bet he loved the cars. Up the inside now, Rusty putting the move on the 555, and you don't reckon that George Elliott would detest seeing a number 55 go past him?
Now he's got Mark Crutch in his sights. The only thing louder than Crutch's yellow car is the man himself, the man from Young. He mightn't be the mayor of Young, but I bet the mayor knows when he's back in town, that's for sure.
He just got railed by Rusty. I can't believe Wright is absolutely firing. We head down this back straight away. They squirm under load on those big Hoosier tyres as Crutcher pins the number 4. Oh, we got trouble.
Bill Robinson, now he's gone off. Now Crutcher and Robinson are both in it for the Masterclass Points Award. They're running 2nd and 3rd in the championship. So that's very, very interesting. Following Robinson now, you can just see with from Freddie Willis's car, he just locked up the rears. You can probably hear it on the onboard now. Rear just chattering as he comes into turn 1 and he's put into the sand trap. Now that'll probably cause a clampdown, which means under Queensland Raceway rules, everybody has to maintain 80 kilometres an hour till they get the car back on the track. Then we go green and it's all on again.
I've had a clampdown before. It usually involves me parking in the wrong place. Very different to what you're talking about. Nice little battle here. Coolig in the 7. McAllister and Kent, the silver bullet. He's been consistent all year, Kent.
He's a multiple Queensland Touring Car champion. I think he's won 3 championships, so he's adapted to the TA2 Muscle Car Series quite well. Running inside the top 10, he's running 7th here this weekend, and he and Michael Coolig have had pretty much a year-long battle, Wado.
I think driving these cars would be almost like dating a supermodel. You would just ruin every other experience you've ever had previously. These cars are just remarkable. They've got plenty of grunt. They sound mint. The racing is phenomenal. And you can't get any bigger than a 32-car grid, Craig. It's a mark. It's a real mark of, I think, the acceptance and the excitement in this category that you've filled the grid for the final round.
Again, Rusty Wright, he was the champion in 2017. He finished top 3 in the championship last year, and he also, of course, went on to win the Masterclass last year. But a very experienced driver, 68 years of age. He's lost none of his pace and absolutely on form this weekend.
Unfortunately, we're missing Andrew Miedeke from this one. It's he got caught up in the Seton incident, and that pretty well put the Dodge out, didn't it?
Yeah, that was a shame, actually. A lot of damage to the front of the Dodge. It bent a rail, and unfortunately, Andrew would have been in for a top 3 shot at the championship. Would have been great if sort of George was in the top 3 and Andrew. And at 70 years of age, I mean, he's just a vastly experienced competitor. So shame that he's missing the 2 races that we'll be seeing today.
There is George Miedeke on screen. Oh, Jarvis pitches in the Lighthouse Electrical number 22, the former junior speedway racer from Bunbury in the southwest of WA, as we ride on board with Jarvis. Is he lacking a little bit of speed there?
I think he might be struggling a little bit too. Now he's in with the championship chance, so this is a championship defining moment for Ashley. I think there might be a car problem. He's off to Daytona next weekend. But
he's not changing gears, I don't think, Craig. It's almost like the thing might be stuck in one specific gear there. Here's McKeldin. He's getting his gear together as he chases on Greg Willis. Now, these two raced against each other over many, many years. And here they are going at it again. And McKeldin to the outside.
Right around the outside. In fact, Freddie Willis was McKeldin's boss at one stage, and they shared a ute and won a class in the Bathurst 12 Hour a number of years ago. So there you are. McKeldin would be pretty pumped about that one right around the outside.
It's almost like Harry Hogg said to him, you can pass on the outside, Matt. Remarkable. There is the Kubota Mustang. It's a good circuit, Craig. As I said, on paper, you wouldn't think it'd be that amazing, but I've never seen a class that hasn't rocked around this joint.
No, it's always had great racing, and it's quite a technical track too. I mean, a lot of people just call it the paperclip. They think it's boring, but it always produces great racing. There's no question about that. So there's Rusty Wright down the inside of the Gold Coast of Timmy Tritton in that beautiful orange, well-presented Mustang, and he's on good form too this weekend. This is Timmy's best performance, running inside the top 9 at the moment.
Did I see 240 kilometres an hour down that back straightaway?
Down the back straight.
Seeing Kent. Yeah, see, there's a problem with Jarvis's car. Not that Kent wouldn't go past him, but it's just lacking a bit of sting at the moment. The silver bullet rips through, and Rusty rides. You're going to have to swab him after this. He's phenomenal.
Back in the race lead, it's still Nathan Hearn. He's got about 4 car lengths over Aaron Seton. Miedeke still sitting in there in 3rd spot. Hugh McAllister back there in 4th. Michael Coolig 5th outright. Kent, Jarvis, Wright, Tritton and Peter Robinson rounding out the top 10. Isn't Hearn doing a sensational job in at Gulf Western Oils Dodge.
When I look at the back of that Challenger, I think, how mean does it look? And right now, Seton is thinking, geez, I'm sick of looking at the back of this thing because he's rarely made a mistake, the teenager. He's a ripe old 17 years of age now. Remarkable. Seton all over him. Nothing. That Dale Earnhardt Jr. lookalike car.
Nothing wrong with Seton's pace. He's just set the fastest lap with a 1:14.31 and he's closing on Hearn. So for the...
Remarkable that car is handling like it is, Craig, because it was twisted, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were very, very lucky. They were lucky that it didn't bend a rail. All the damage was really directly in the frontal area of the car. So the oil cooler, the radiator, all the front bar work was pushed in, but the rails and the suspension geometry wasn't touched. So very, very lucky. Again, proves how tough these TA2 Muscle Car Series cars are, how well they're built by our motorsport.
Rusty Wright all over the back of Kent now as he's charging, looking to get a top 6. I've never seen him drive this well. Fires up the inside and he'll pick up the move on the UCS 74.
Oh, and a great move too. And he loves this track. He's been hot and cold all year, Rusty, unfortunately. He's just had a lot of bad luck. It was a brand new car at the start of the season, and he had some issues at Morgan Park and a couple of little niggly things, but he's absolutely on top of it this weekend and firing.
Right now, you'd be wishing this was round 1, not the final round of the TA2 Muscle Car Series. Already some exciting news about next year as well as we take a look. This incredible dream racing entry, the 2-car team of Scatella and Elliott. Gee, they've decked out a beautiful team of hot rods.
They certainly have done, and they'll be a force to be reckoned with next year too, Wado, with Kim Jane mentoring the two. Now we look at Coulter, having a look down the inside of Peter Robinson. Can't quite do it. Crutch is still in there. There's George Elliott. Car 49, the General Lee, Chris Formosa, who races Super Utes as well as TA2 muscle cars every second weekend. And you're on board now, Richardson in car number 18.
So Coulter's got it on the brakes on the outside.
Yeah, it's a really cool looking car, very understated in his look as we see Robinson. Just a simple purple and white stripe down the side with a big fat number 10 as we go on board with Scatella. Remarkable character, this man, and doesn't he love his racing? Every other weekend he's not racing, he spends in the car with the Adrenaline team.
Flies all over the world, he does. He does hot lap days in America, at Las Vegas, some of the great tracks and in different parts of the world, and this is his first real effort at road racing, and doesn't he love it? And put together this fantastic 2-car dream racing team, as you mentioned.
There is Formosa. What an interesting young man he is. He's jammed in this battle. He's got Crutcher in front, he's got Richo right in behind him, and now joining in, I think that might even be Scatella. So this is a ripping battle.
Aaron Berry in there too, and Crutcher's doing a great job. He's sitting inside the top 10 of the championship, and as I said, he's a contender for one of the masterclass podium finishes for the series. Oh, a bit of a nudge there on the inside of the General Lee. And now Scatella having a go.
Yeah, kind of got Formosa pinched off a little bit with his momentum. He fell back into the crutches. Now Scatella. Oh, around he goes.
Oh, yes, he's tagged Sean Richardson, I think it is. So, yeah, Scatella, right. Jeff Lee's the driving standards advisor. We'll have a good look at this. We'll have a look at the replay. He comes in way too hot. Luckily that he didn't turn Richard around.
10K. Very lucky as well not to get caught up in all of that. Lap 11 now. And field spread out. Richardson doing a heck of a job. There is 10K. It's a very distinctive looking livery. And what's the go with Crutcher?
Oh, yeah. Now Crutcher's slowing too in the big yellow Dodge, car number 4. So he's not having the best of weekends either. But 10K's on form. Again, this is a car that's only 2 race meetings old. The car's 69 10K higher Mustang. Superb green colour. Trying to run down the inside of Richardson.
Geez, I love turn 2. I love it when they square up coming off that corner and just run down that back straight away. This is a great battle. Richardson, we're on board. He's firing up the inside. 10K. Oh, Richo got the tail out. Gotta love that.
The back steps right out on the black Mustang. Yeah, this is a guy who travels all over the world. He's raced all over the world. He's extremely experienced. And Rusty Wright too in car 55, still coming through the field. He hasn't given up yet.
Absolutely at the business end of this race. There is Coolig, and Rusty just brushes him aside. Moves through. Now, Coolig has been top 6 the entire race. He hasn't put a Hoosier wrong. Here they come though. Seton putting the pressure on Hearn. Checkered flag not far away.
So 40 points up for grabs between first and second at the moment, and 220 points all weekend. They take the last lap board. 55 points per race, so Seton really has less than 1 race win up his sleeve. So it's very, very critical. No problems with car 88. Great pace at the moment, great lap times, lapping Bill Robinson in car 77. Hearn down the outside on the back straight.
He made up a bit of ground then, but look at Seton now. Seemingly at will, pulls the Castrol Harris Racing entry up alongside him. Just has to let him know he's there, Craig, really. It's about intimidation. Oh, Hearn a little bit wriggly off the turn, but what is Seton going to do now?
Yeah, well, you'd nearly think he wouldn't want to throw the championship away. I reckon he's playing for the points, Wade. He'd be crazy not to. They've done a great job to get this car. Thanks to Ronnie Kremen, Craig Vanderstelt and all the team from the Central Coast that threw a heap of parts at this car overnight. And they've done a fantastic job just to get it competitive on the track and keep his championship points alive.
Final corner. Can Hearn hold on? Looks like he will. And wrap up race number 3. But importantly, Seton picks up second place points. Critical result there for him. Let's look at your high-tech top 10. Hearn, Seton, Miedeke, McAllister, Wright, Cooley, Kent, Tritton, Jarvis and Robinson.
Great drive for Peter Robinson inside the top 10, so that's a really, really good effort too.
The weekend's been awesome. I mean, we've had a really good car all weekend, and we're just learning more and more as the weekend goes on. So, fingers crossed we can keep the car straight for race 4, and hopefully bring home a round win. It'll be our first one ever in TA2 racing, so that'll be awesome to take home at the end of the season in our rookie year to have a first ever round win. It'd be an amazing feat. Yeah, well, me and Aaron have been battling hard all weekend, so look, he's got good pace underneath his car, so I've just got to try and keep in front of him, and we're starting to make progress towards him. So just then I was able to keep him behind me quite comfortably. So we'll see what we can do for race 4, if we can tune him up a bit more. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, it'll be a good fight for race 4, and at least we'll be able to put on a good show.
Yeah, definitely. It's been really good racing, Nathan. It's been quite close racing, and I've been trying to keep the pressure up, and he's been going really well. So I'm looking forward to the last race with him and George and everyone in the field. So hopefully we can come away with a clean race and get the championship. A bit of a nervous and excitement, but anything can happen as we've seen out throughout the year. So now I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, and time will tell.
Kubota Racing's Matt McKeldin was another casualty of turn 2.
I think for our car, it's probably been a little bit up and down. We qualified quite poorly. That put you in a difficult position, but then got a really good start in race 1 and sort of played around with Hugh there for a little while. We kind of went nose to tail for a lot of it. My team manager's a very big guy, so you don't want to ever touch cars with your teammates. So we went all right there. Obviously last night was difficult. We're really lucky to get through that melee with Seton and Miedeke and all those guys. I popped out in 4th, so I was kind of hoping the race was going to continue there because I was in a really good spot. And then this morning, race 3 or race 2, whatever you want to call it, the rerun race, got a really good start. I was up to I think 5th or 6th, and then I just made such a rookie error. I just locked up my rears and flew off the track, and then spent the next 5 laps berating myself in the car. So really pleased for Hugh to get up into 5th place, I think, for Kubota Racing in that race. So, you know, we'll put our heads down and we'll change the little things and on the car and tune her up a little bit, and I'll go and have a tune up and see if we can't have a result in the final for the weekend.
Bill Robinson was on for a series podium in the masterclass, but handicapped by a lack of grip.
In the beginning of the race there was a bit of a melee after turn 1, and I got hit in the back, just bumped a bit. I guess I lost my concentration a little bit, and came into turn 1 there a little bit too hot, and paid the consequence. Got myself bogged in the kitty litter over there. Got towed out back of the field, and then trying very hard to catch up. And every time I just about catch up, I'd lose concentration again and go for another little excursion. But fun, great fun, great fun.
So out they roll, and there is the TA2 Muscle Car Trophy. If they needed any more inspiration, the hardware is sitting right there, and to the left you can see the big fella Stewie Hearn, the original hitman. Craig, wouldn't he be proud of his kid? Gee, he's done a good job.
Yes, he's had a great weekend. 2 races and 1 to Aaron Seton so far. That's the Performax Cup that you can see sitting there. That's the amazing series trophy that will go after this race to a very, very proud Aaron Seton or a George Miedeke. They're the only 2 as we take the green and start our final race in the 2019 TA2 Muscle Car Series.
A bit of a case of deja vu as they rock down into turn 1. Remember, it was last night where it all came apart for Seton. Oh, Hearn squealing the tyres out of that right-hander. Miedeke right up the ginger ale of Seton as they head down this back straight, well over 220 kilometres an hour.
So Seton is on 1,226 points, 50 points ahead of Miedeke, 55 points up for grabs. Miedeke can win the series if he finishes in the top 2, but Seton needs to not finish to have a chance. Jarvis is on 1,102. He can't win and he can't finish second, but he can stay in third spot in the series.
And he's still going to Daytona, baby. So as much as he'd be disappointed if he's still thinking, I'm going to Daytona and you boys aren't. And what about the championship ring as well, Craig? There's so many great incentives here this weekend.
Yeah, fantastic championship ring. Again, another idea by Peter Robertson. A $3,500 Wallace Bishop diamond and gold crusted ring goes to the championship winner. So it could come down to Seton or Miedeke. Jarvis down the inside of the Kulik, so more pace in the Jarvis car for this race. Good to see.
Yeah, I think he definitely had problems in race 3, Craig. I think it was a gearbox issue. It just didn't seem like he was able to change gears. We ride on board with Kulik, who has been very consistent all weekend. There is Jarvis. Kulik is right behind him. Then you've got Coulter and George Elliott. A much better start for Hollywood. George Elliott this time.
Now, Huey McAllister can still finish 4th in the championship. So can Hearn. Wright's race 2 issue has dropped him out of the top 5. So Russell Wright coming from the back of the field, of course, that has hurt his top 5 championship points.
I've got to say that the 10K car, it's a little bit Elton John. I've never seen lime green and hot pink work together, but it's oddly appealing. It looks mint.
He's a great bloke, Anthony. 10K runs a hire business on the Sunshine Coast, races Trans Am cars as well, and loves his motorsport. Just absolutely loves it. Got a beautiful personal Ford Mustang car collection too. That's the envy of many.
There he is, right up the inside, trying to work the inside on Richardson, as we see now Formosa. Putting the move on Hollywood George Elliott, the author, the action man of motor racing. An incredible character. Whoa!
Wow!
What happened?
Now that was McKeldin.
Oh, it's McKeldin.
That was McKeldin. I think he did that all on his own in the Kubota Mustang. Wow, not having the best of weekends. Let's have a look at the replay. And yes, the rear stepped out. He couldn't catch it, and there it is. Now this will probably cause another clampdown situation. So this was kind of a pseudo safety car situation, and problems for Mark Crutcher too. Now this is also championship defining in the master class.
Oh, is that a gearbox issue? He didn't seem like he can find a gear there.
Yeah, sounds that way. Sounds like some kind of issue there. So they've got McKeldin out under clampdown, so we'll be going back to racing under green very, very shortly. But I'd say you're right, Mark Crutcher's had some kind of gearbox issue in the Dodge. He carries the hopes of valiant owners all over the world, does Mark Crutcher, and loves to wear it on his chest as well.
Look at this. Rusty picking up where he left off in race 3. Hearn, your leader, from Seton, from Miedeke, firing up the inside now. Russell Wright, the WPI entry, the 55 is alive.
He's leading the masterclass on series points, although Timmy Tritton leading this weekend, the masterclass so far for the round points. But again, look how hard he's pushing the car, stepping out, beautiful control. It just looks so well balanced as that 55 yellow Mustang.
There's Jarvis right there on the inside of McAllister in the second of the Kubota Mustangs. Right in behind him is the Silver Bullet, Kent, back to Cooley, then Coulter, then Hollywood George, top 10. Best result, I think, for George this season, I would think, as well.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it, though. There was only 2 cars on the track in Thursday private practice, Wado, George and Craig Scatella. Only 2 cars, 2 team cars, and they both ran into each other, totally tearing the front off George's Camaro. Can you believe that?
Wow. Sometimes you don't have to be there to be stiff, do you?
But George Elliott, Ken's doing a great job. He's really come on forward in the last 2 or 3 rounds, as has Kulig. Kulig runs in the family business, Kulig Engineering. They make retractable tarps. They're a very, very small family outfit. His father George, his uncle Bob, and they've put together a very, very professional team.
You can see the boys are working the Hoosiers pretty hard this late in the weekend. This long back straightaway. They're ripping down here, well over 225 k's an hour. You just see Coulter.
That's the Masterclass Series leader for this round, Timmy Tritton. What's his best TA2 performance to date?
Been under the radar, Timmy, but he's done a hell of a job. It's a really unusual or unique colour scheme that he runs. You just see him then up behind Coulter in the Cabelco, number 11 again, this sweeping right-hander. It's all about momentum, this track, Craig, isn't it?
Yeah, you really got to keep the flow up, as they say in motorsport. Keep the car flowing. And it is quite technical to get the car set up. Hard on brakes, Queensland Raceway. Very, very hard on brakes. You've got to have a lot of confidence in the car on the brakes to pull a good lap time here.
Pick the inside of the car up over the infield. The curb just then. Tritton having a ripper battle. There is Kent. There is Cooling in behind him. Then Coulter. Then Tritton. Then Elliott. Then Formosa. Then Richardson. Then 10Gate. You've got to be pleased with the opening season. And Craig, the huge news, you're opening at the Super Loop 500 next year.
Adelaide and Bathurst on the calendar for next year, Wade, so we're looking for a fantastic year. I mean, after just 2 seasons on the national stage, we've sold some 48 cars now, and I think next year is going to be an absolutely belter for TA2 Muscle Car Racing in Australia.
Incredible result. Russell Wright, hasn't he been fantastic? Under brakes, he's chasing down George Miedeke in the Miedeke Motor Group entry. I wouldn't have thought at the start of the year we would see that. Ripping shot from the drone of the paperclip.
Yeah, George just not quite on the pace this weekend. He's just fallen off the back of both Hearn and Seton. He's not there. I mean, bear in mind, if Seton DNFs or anything happens in the last couple of laps, Miedeke could still win the championship, but he just doesn't appear this weekend to have the outright pace in the Lube Merckx Mustang.
Saw a man on screen, I just love saying his name out loud, Don Dimitriadis. It's such a great racing name. Sounds like he should be a Formula One driver. There he is on screen. Gorgeous looking Ford Mustang. I'm pretty sure Glenn Seton has a lot to do with the race prep on that car.
Yeah, Glenn is very much involved with Don, and Don's a great supporter of Aaron too. I know he tips money into the Seton effort, as does Craig Harris, to try and keep Aaron on the track, and it's a great opportunity for Aaron. Craig Harris has stepped out of the car for the last 2 seasons to give Aaron a decent shot at winning a title, and this weekend it looks as though it may well pay him dividends.
McAllister just went past Jarvis like he was tied to a tree. Something must be wrong with that Lighthouse electrical number 22 again, unfortunately. Now, if Seton can wrap this up, what an amazing year for that young man. The team, DJR Penske, won Bathurst. Now, if he can wrap up this championship, how good would that be?
That'd be fantastic, and what an underrated driver he is too. I mean, you nearly have to think that DJR Team Penske would have to have him on some kind of option or contract. He deserves it. He's driven flawlessly all year. Back to the field though, this tremendous battle between Chris Formosa, George Elliott, Timmy Tritton. They're all in there. 10Gates on the back of it. Murray Kent in car 74, the big silver Camaro.
Very cool of Formosa recently too, Craig, to do a bit of extra promotion away from the industry. Took his 49 generally out to Valvoline Raceway to show sprint car fans, and he's agreed he wants to put the car on track as a pace car one night for the sprint cars. Can you imagine that?
Murray Kent running in the top 7 of the championship now, so if he finishes where he is now, he'll bump himself into the top 7, so that's a great effort.
There is Rusty Wright, the WPI Rentals number 55, trying to haul in the big man from Port Macquarie, George Miedeke, who spent a fair bit of time overseas in a third world nation earlier this year, I think in Africa, and was just amazed.
He went to Africa.
He was helping out small communities and things like that, totally humbled by the experience.
Seton, fastest lap on the second last lap, 1:14.87. Hearn, a 1:15 flat. Miedeke, a 1:15.22. So Seton's still pushing hard, the only driver in the 14s.
I love the whistle of the diff. Right all over the back of Miedeke again.
Now Hearn will move into equal fourth in the championship with Hugh McAllister if he finishes where he is, and he'll take fourth on a countback because of the number of race wins he's had compared to Hugh this year.
I was going to say, it's remarkable to think with all the wins I've seen from Nathan that he only finishes equal fourth. Like, it's incredible. He seems like he's been up the pointing end every time I've seen him. Must be just perhaps those mechanical DNFs that he had, unfortunately, at the Bend in particular, and also I think at Winton, that perhaps have cost him with his consistency. But in terms of blistering speed, man, he's got it.
Absolutely. So Aaron Seton's had a very, very busy week. As you know, he's had to rebuild the Scott McLaughlin Shell V-Power supercar from the big crash from the Gold Coast 600. He's had to work on that all week to try and repair that before Sandown. And now, of course, he's racing today after having rebuilt his car with the rest of the team overnight. So he'd be a very, very tired, worn-out boy. And really, I would think, coming into his last lap, he would have everything crossed in the car. Fingers, toes, absolutely everything.
Just wondering if Scott McLaughlin was anywhere to be seen last night at 3 a.m. when Aaron was fixing his car, mate.
Coulter in the Cabelco Mustang. Tritton in the orange Mustang. Jarvis again slowing on the track. Bad luck for Jarvis. He's still in the top 10, but that's really blown his championship. He still should finish third on the podium, though, in terms of series points.
So he races at Daytona.
He's the reigning champ from last year.
As part of the prize, he races at Daytona. Where does the 2019 champ race? Or do you know that yet?
Well, they get their choice. They can pick any basic Trans Am round in America that they can compete at, and I think Aaron's probably looking at doing something mid-year next year, June, July. So Seton, his grandfather Beau or Barry won Bathurst in a Ford Cortina in 1965. His father, a two-time Australian touring car champion in 93 and 97, driving for his own team. Aaron's had 2 class wins in the Bathurst 12 Hour, including the GT4 class, a class winner in the Porsche GT3 Challenge Series, and picked up a BMW chance to go head-to-head with some of the world's best for their junior program in Germany in February this year, finishing second. Now on the last lap to claim his first major title.
Well, you use the word class a lot in those sentences, Craig, and that's exactly what this kid has. Brings it down towards the final corner. What a result for this team. How about it for Castrol Harris Racing? This kid from Lismore has been phenomenal. Nathan Hearn will win the race, but Aaron Seton will win the battle in the TA2 Muscle Car Series. Last lap forward, Checker is out. What a result for Hearn, but how about Seton, Miedeke, Wright, McAllister, and plenty of love all round there.
There's Glenn Seton, and you can see Craig Harris, who's had a hamstring operation this week and is only at the track on crutches and in enormous pain.
So your high-tech steel frame race results see Nathan Hearn get the win from Aaron Seton in second, George Miedeke third, Russell Wright, Hugh McAllister in the top 5, Murray Kent, Michael Kulig, Michael Coulter, Tim Tritton, and George Elliott rounding out the 10. And so at the end of the round, it was Nathan Hearn who was victorious by 6 points over Aaron Seton. George Miedeke was third, Hugh McAllister fourth, Murray Kent had a great weekend, so did Michael Kulig. Tim Tritton was impressive, so too was Peter Robinson. Michael Coulter was ninth, and Chris Formosa rounded out the top 10 for the round. And so at the end of an epic year, Aaron Seton is your champion. George Miedeke was close behind for second, while defending champ Ashley Jarvis finished third. Hugh McAllister was fourth. Lightning Lismore rookie Nathan Hearn was fifth. Murray Kent was superb for sixth. Then back to Rusty Wright, Andrew Miedeke, Matt McKeldin, and Michael Kulig rounding out your 10.
Pretty special feeling, obviously, that I couldn't have done it without my team this year. It was a massive effort last night, especially just to get the car back out. So without those guys and without my supporters and Craig Harris, all the whole Harris family, and Don Demetrias and everyone helping in, it's and the TA2, everyone in TA2 who helped on the car last night. I just can't thank them enough. We've had some stuff thrown at us. But I just look down now and there's a flat tyre, so just made it to the end. Yeah, I can't believe it.
While Tim Tritton won the round, veteran Russell Wright claimed the Serco Pads Masters Award for the second consecutive season.
I wasn't so sure after race 2 today. We obviously had a DNF. We didn't really start through a selector fault, but it was only because there was some shale and dirt shoved in the selector, and So we got that going and out for race 3 and come from 26th to 5th, and then the last race up to 4th. So, and pretty much on the tail of the lead cars. So I'm pretty happy. They're all I consider to be young guys or young guns. So for an old bloke like me, I think I'm doing okay.
Chris Formosa wrapped up the Willwood Big Breaker Award for his best TA2 result this season, finishing in the top 10. Ashley Jarvis and Russell Wright shared the Hypercoil Hard Charger Award with 21 positions each in races 2 and 3. Hope you've enjoyed the TA2 Muscle Car series from Queensland Raceway. Don't forget, we're back on track at the Superloop 500 in Adelaide early next year. For more details, check out the TA2 website and Facebook page.